Hi students, we want to get to part 2 of the cash budget. On Monday I decided to stop with just one little 20-minute segment which was on the receipts. So now we will do the disbursements and put the entire cash budget together. So let's go to Wolf Den and see what you need to pull up. Okay, if you go under Chapter 3, Test 3 material, it's Chapter 4, Part 2 PowerPoints. Okay, and we'll start on that. And your homework was the receipt portion of the cash budget. And then we're going to be working in class today with the disbursement section of this one. So let's go back and take a look at what you were supposed to have done for homework last night. Okay, you should have done the top portion of your homework problem for homework, the receipts. Okay, tonight you will do the bottom portion, okay, the disbursements, and you will also put it into the format. This is a little bit different than the one I have on mine, but you'll put it into this format and you'll have the entire problem ready to turn in on Friday. Okay, so that's the goal here. Now let's go back to our problem. This is just another copy of the homework. We want to look at the cash budget problem for today. So let's pull that up. We've already done the first part. Let's kind of review. I'll show you what we did in class. It looked like this. If you go back through the part 1 video, we did the entire first section. Okay, you can also go back to your PowerPoint slides, and we had stopped here. If you go on, it shows you the answers in a nicer looking format than what we worked through. Okay, now the second part that we want to look at is your disbursements. Let's read through this because it says that this is what we project to pay out. We plan to pay this. Colson has gathered the relevant information for the development of a cash budget schedule. Purchases will represent 70% of sales. Now I told you sales are the first thing, that's the first item or first budget that's prepared where you estimate or forecast your sales. So we go back to sales, we're going to estimate that what we spend, we will purchase 70% of raw materials to manufacture this product. Okay, 10% we intend to pay right off with cash, but we're going to wait and pay some of this the month after our purchase, and then some of it we're going to wait and pay 2 months later. So we're going to delay some of the payment of cash. The firm will also expend cash on rent, wages, salaries, taxes, capital assets, those are long-term assets, interest, dividends, and a portion of the principal they'll pay back on the loan. The resulting disbursement schedule is as follows. So we want to go through and do our disbursements. Now let me see what's on the next slide. This is how you do it. First, let's focus on what we're going to actually pay out, our purchases. Okay, so coming down here to our problem, okay, we're looking at the second section here, and we want to go through and let's estimate what we're going to purchase. Okay, now I want you to draw a line here. I had told you on the other one, when you drew the line, you don't add in anything above the line. We want to estimate how much we intend to purchase, and then we want to show how we've purchased it in the next section. Okay, so let's do the estimate. 70% of sales. Go back to August. In August, we had $100,000 that we intended to sell. So 70% of that, 100,000 times 70% means we're going to sell or purchase, in this case 70, and we're truncating, 70,000 with 3 zeros will be what we buy as far as materials to manufacture the product that we intend to sell. Okay, going back to September, go all the way back. Okay, September we estimated we would sell $200,000 worth of whatever this product is. So let's see how much we're going to purchase. 200,000 times 70% means that we intend to purchase 140,000 worth of raw materials. Okay, October, 400,000 is what we intend to sell, but we need to purchase 280,000 of raw materials. That might be lumber, that might be I don't know, paper, it might be some kind of rubber. I'm not sure exactly what we're manufacturing here, but whatever it is, we have to buy the materials to make the product to sell. Okay, November, go all the way back. 300,000 at 70%, 0.70 is 210,000 in purchases. And December, go all the way up, 200,000 times 0.70 is 140,000 in purchases. Now, this is above the line. We're not going to add it in. It's just for our information. Okay, let's go back to the second part in our PowerPoints. We want to calculate the cash purchases. 10% of what we just figured will be paid right now in cash. Okay, so go back down here. And what we want to do is times 10% means that we'll pay 7 or 7,000 in cash now. 10% of 140, we will pay 14 or 14,000 cash right now. 10% of 280 means we'll pay $28 or 28,000 in cash. 10% of 210 means that we'll pay 21 or 21,000 in cash. And 10% of 140 means that we'll pay 14 or 14,000 in cash. So this is our cash payment. We'll pay that out right now. Okay, now going back to our PowerPoint 13. Calculate the collection of accounts payable, which is 70% of the purchases that we'll pay within 1 month. Okay, we owe somebody. We have an accounts payable. Normally they give us 30 days. In this case, I guess they gave us 2 months. But we're going to split it up and we're going to pay 70% of what we owe on those purchases in a month. So let's go back down here. We will have a lag of 1 month. Notice right here. So that means for August, go back to this number, we will pay 70% of that in September. Okay, 70% of that will be paid in September. So that means $49,000 or $49,000. Okay, go back to September's. Okay, the 140, we're going to pay 70% of that in October. So that means 70% times 140 is $98,000 or $98,000. Okay. October, we're going to pay 70% of that. 0.70 times 280 will be paid. That's 196 or 196,000. If you put the zeros behind it, that will be paid in November, 1 month later. And then on the 210,000, we're going to pay 70% of that in December. So 210 times 70% is 147 or 147,000. I should have lined this up better, but I didn't. Okay, so follow the arrows there. A little bit different. I should have angled them, but I did them kind of perpendicular. Okay, let's go back to the PowerPoints. Now we still owe some money. We haven't paid these people everything. So 2 months from the day that we purchase it, we're going to pay the remaining amount, 20% of what we owe. Okay, so let's go to our paper and we want to look at August first. That's going to be a 2-month lag here. Okay, so for August, that means that we will pay that in October. Okay, and 20% of what our purchase was will be paid in October. Okay, so I'm going to kind of come so you can see. I'm going to use the red. I'm going to come down here and I'm going to draw it over here and put it under October. It should be under that 98, and we're looking at 20%. So 20% of 70 means that 14, right here, $14,000 will be paid in October, 2 months later. Okay, this 140 that we purchased, 2 months later, in November, we'll pay the remaining balance, which is 20%. So I'm going to put a little star right here, come down. And I know this is messy, but it helps you to see it. Okay, so September, October, November, 20%. 20% times 140, okay, how much is that going to be? In November, 20% times 140 is 28. 28,000 will be paid right here in November. Okay. And then, this is confusing, October, 280. 2 months later in December, we're going to pay 20% of this 280. So let's do our little star right here. Come on down, show you where it's going. So 20%, 0.20 times 400, no, I'm sorry, times 280. This 400 was the sales. You want this amount, 280. Okay, so 280 times 20% means that, what is that, 36 or 36,000 will be paid in December. Now, I know that's confusing, okay, but try to work it where you can see it better. I know this is kind of messy, but gives you an idea. Okay? Now, that's the hard part, I think. We've finished the first step that dealt with purchases, but we still have some payments to make. Okay? So let's go to the next thing. Next slide. This is slide 14. Okay, we have rent, $5,000 per month. We're going to use 5. So come down here and everywhere, 5 under every month. 5, 5, 5, 5. And that represents our rent. Okay, 5,000. We have wages. We have to pay wages. 10% of sales. Okay, from page 129. I guess that's the other PowerPoint slide. But 10% of whatever our sales were, plus $8,000. Okay, that's confusing. Let's go back to our sales. Now, if you notice, here are our sales. We got those way up here at the top. Remember, these are our sales figures. Way up at the top. So we took them down here. 100,000 times 10% is going to be 10 plus 8. Okay, so 10% plus 8 would be 18. Okay, 200,000, 10% plus 8. We're getting the 8 right here. Okay, so that's going to be 28. Okay, right here, 400,000, 10% plus 8 would be 48. Now let me show you again where we're getting these numbers. This 400,000 came all the way from our sales number up at the top of the page. And we used it to calculate our purchases. We're multiplying 10% plus 8,000. Okay, November, 10% of 300 is 30, plus 8 is 38, and 10% of 200,000 is 20, plus 8 is 28. Okay? Very confusing, I know. Follow the guide on your PowerPoints, okay, up here. Now, tax, $25,000 in December. So we're going to put 25 under December for taxes. So come down here, where's our taxes? Right here, all the way over. And we want to put 25 there. That would be our tax that we're paying. Next, we intend to buy some type of long-term asset, $130,000 in November. That's going to be $130. If you leave off the 3 zeros, And that's going to be in November. And let's find our page. Here we go. Fixed assets right here, 130. Okay. Go back to your slide. Interest of $10,000 in December. And all of this is also in your reading here. You can read through this. But interest in December is $10,000. Here's your line. Come all the way over to December and put 10. That's a 10. And then you have cash dividend of 20 in October. And we want to repay that loan of 20 in December. So let's do the dividend. Here it is. Cash dividend in October. Where's our October? Here we go. Have to get on the right line of 20. Okay, so that's our dividend. Where is it? Right here. And then we want to repay this loan of 20 all the way over here in December. Okay. Woo. Now, here's the deal. You can go through here and add August and September, but those really aren't the months we're looking for. If you want to, that's fine, but now we have to total all this. Remember, do not go above the line. Okay, but if you want to add these, you can. 7, 5, that would be 12. Added to 18 would be 30 in August. In September, you have 14 and 49, that's 50, 63, 68, 68, that's going to be 6, 7, 8, 76. Okay. If you come through in October, you want to add 28, 90, I'm sorry, yeah, 28, 98, 14, 5, 48, and 20. Okay, that's going to give you 213. Okay, 213. I think I made a mistake right here. I'm not real sure, but we're not going to worry about it right now. Okay, next we have November. We want to add, not above the line, we want to add 21, 196, 28, 5, 38, 130. Come down and add that, and that should be 418. Okay. December, come all the way up below the line, 14, 147, 36, 5, 28, 25, 10, and 20. That gives you 305. Now, let's compare these answers to what's on the PowerPoint slide here, okay? Okay, here we go. Back up here. Here's your slide with your answers. That's going to be slide 15. Okay, mine were a little off. I'm not really sure. Oh, I know. I went through and added rent and wages. So if you went through and added rent and wages all the way across here, that's going to change these numbers. We had 30 and 76. But the months we're looking for, October, November, and December, those are the correct months. Okay? Now, I'm not really sure if I'm going to have enough time to finish this up. I'm going to stop here with the disbursements. I'm going to do a final set of PowerPoints where I add all of this and put it together for the cash budget. Okay, so let's stop here. It's almost 20 minutes, and you need to make sure that you go back and do the homework problem with this set, which would be the disbursements. Is this it? Yes. So you need to do the second part of this for homework. Okay. Right here, the middle part. That's the top part you did the other day. Okay, here's the middle part with the disbursements. So that's your homework on the second problem, and this happens to be on Grenoble. Okay, I'm stopping the PowerPoints. I'm going to come back and finish all this and put it together into one set. Okay?